Fitness content and Stoic lens. Stoicism is a philosophical view created by Zeno of Citium that positive emotion is the responsibility of the individual and how they receive experiences. In other words, if a situation is out of one's hands, they are discouraged from attempting to control the situation. Social media is the perfect maelstrom for manipulation, lies, and coercion. Recently, a notable fitness influencer, Liver King, was ousted for secretly taking steroids and other performance-enhancing drugs. He was taking nearly $15,000 worth of drugs a month. Up until recently, he would spout the quote-unquote 9 tenets, where he would say, follow these things and you'll get buff, you'll get shredded, you'll do everything you need to do in terms of fitness. However, he forgot the 10th ancestral tenet of using drugs. Being lied to eat raw cow testicles or bull testicles is not the only culprits of misinformation within the fitness community. I'm someone who has studied, researched, and written papers over muscle building, cardiovascular health, and diet effectiveness. I can confirm that it does not take much effort to find fitness influencers who purvey absolute nonsense and write it off as accurate advice. You can search up any sort of fat-burning supplement, fat-burning muscle presser, different ab circuits or exercises, and you'll get the next quote-unquote big thing. It's disappointing to see disinformation and false advice being given to such a large community, especially when there's a market behind it. Fitness industry currently has grown to over $32 billion in 2022. However, obesity has also risen to nearly 42%. That doesn't make sense. There's a rise in the cost of the fitness industry, or the market in the fitness industry, as well as a rise in, well, lack of fitness. The solution in my experience and my research, however, and found in my research, is not to immediately attempt to regulate every platform in which fitness content is made and distributed. It isn't even in the best interests of everyone to do so, as many people lie to themselves and want to believe that there's an easy way to being fit. It's easier to blame external factors like faulty diet pills or misleading fitness influencers than for them to face the reality that fat loss and muscle building is a relatively simple process. All that one needs is to be in a caloric deficit and to work each muscle through a range of motion relatively regularly. However, past a certain point, there is nothing someone can do aside from having patience. I personally have had to work out for at least a year to find the results that I so wanted. I had to simply have patience and work hard. There isn't anything more than that. There isn't any fancy ab workout or any fancy muscle building exercise or diet pill that just gave me the results I so wanted to see. This is where the Stoic moral theory shines. As aforementioned, Stoicism is the view that happiness lies within the ownership of what one can control. Applied to fitness, one can control how they manage their time throughout the day. If someone wants to lose weight, they are fully in control of how much they eat and exercise over time. One may bring up the criticism in this point of view that this point of view is unfair and does not take into account the inequalities of whether people have the time or money to invest into their physical health. However, the necessities for losing weight and or building muscle are not very demanding. One is only required to either eat less or exercise more. Any mental or emotional difficulties can be dealt with by starting smaller. If one cannot run a mile, then they may start by attempting to walk the mile. If they cannot walk, then they may start by walking for a few minutes. If someone can't do a pull-up, then they can start by grabbing onto a bar and attempting a pull-up. Oftentimes, the excuse of not taking up responsibility for one's life is a simple protective device that one uses to try to avoid the pain that comes with ownership. You're allowed to avoid ownership. However, the consequence of long-term happiness, lack of peace, and an onslaught of negative emotion for the days to come must then be accepted. You have the consequences to your actions in the individual. In the case of misinformation being spread by fitness influencers, once one acknowledges that they exist, they can begin to weed out individually what they believe to be wrong. Advocating for regulation may or may not be a correct solution. However, it doesn't address the individual issue of coercion and manipulation. pushing for an activist response towards misinformation doesn't help the individual circumstances in your life. Not at all. Stoicism doesn't provide an easy way out of the tragedies of life. However, it does provide the option to choose which struggles to bear. There may be dozens, if not hundreds, of fitness influencers who give false information to literally millions of followers on social media. However, applying the Stoic concept of self-control and acceptance of the responsibility in one's life allows for the issue to, at the very least, not be a destructive factor to an individual's fitness goals. You don't have to be a victim of other people. You don't have to simply depend on societal whims and whatever people tell you to get fit, or even just anywhere in your individual life. You don't have to depend on others, rely solely on others, especially not places like TikTok or YouTube, to be able to work on yourself in such an individual form, such as working out, losing weight, building muscle, creating a healthy lifestyle. That's up to you. And that's what Stoicism promotes. Everything being up to you. Everything that you can control is you.